Story time on how I caught my boyfriend cheating on me, so I stole his side piece and made her my girlfriend. Okay, so boom, we jumping right in. I've been with my boyfriend for 3 years and he knows that I'm bi. But it was one of those situations that you're with a guy for so long, people forget that you're even into girls. Because obviously I'm faithful to my man, but can't say the same for him. My boyfriend started to do the typical signs of a cheater. He was always texting and smiling on his phone. He was starting to see me a lot less, and he was giving excuses to why we never slept on the phone together anymore. Well, one night I was finally sleeping over and I knew this was my one chance to look through his phone because I probably wasn't going to see him for another week or two. While he was sleeping, I took his thumb and unlocked his phone. It didn't take me long to find his side piece. It hurt me so much to see him say he missed holding her and kissing her and a lot more graphic things. I went to his Instagram friend list and I put her name and I found her. Then I followed her. I put his phone back and then I left. And this is the beginning of the end. Like for part 2.
Restock time.
Storytime about how I ruined my ex-best friend's relationship and reputation in 2 days. So a little background information, I was 14 in 8th grade. I was in a very toxic friend group of 3, and we all secretly talk crap about each other. So 2 of the girls in my friend group decided that they didn't want to be friends with me anymore, for absolutely no reason. The one girl texted me saying, I don't want to be friends with you anymore, and then the other girl literally just played along with it because she can't think for herself. She was like, yeah, I've been planning on doing this for like 2 weeks. So I got very embarrassed by this because they started going around the school telling everybody about it. And not to sound like that person, but I was really popular. I had a lot more friends than them, and the only reason why people liked them was because they were my friends. Anyway, so I started texting the boys that they liked. And I was like, hey, I think you should know that they've been talking to other people while they're talking to you. And I just thought that that was really wrong. And when they asked who, I gave them names of boys that they both used to talk to. And then when the girls texted me about it, like for part 2.
So this is where we were at the start of day 2. By the end of the day, we had cleared out the entire living room, but that still left us with the entire upstairs bedroom and the second guest room. So we just had to go ahead and get started going from the top to bottom first. That's just because the risk for an avalanche to happen was actually pretty high on this job. After that, we formed a chain, grabbing everything piece by piece to take it down to the living room. There were 3 flights of stairs, so we found out the best way to do it was to fill up the second floor and then work together as a team to bring it all the way down to the dumpster. So once we unloaded all the big stuff, we finished up getting all the tiny pieces into bags, and this is what the final result looked like for this bedroom. But that still left us with the entire guest room, which was super packed up and dense. What was difficult about this room was picking up all the food, which was super heavy. It basically makes the bags super hard to carry down. But by the end of the day, we ended up filling not 1, not 2, but 3 full 40-yard dumpsters, plus 2 entire box trucks. Also, thanks to everyone who's been watching the series.
Storytime of how my best friend got so weirdly obsessed with me that she even plotted to kill my boyfriend. So at the time, me and this girl, let's just call her Olivia, had only been friends for about 2 years. I mean, we really did everything together. We were with each other 24/7, and I mean, we were pretty good friends. But the only thing about our friendship is she did not like when I had other friends. I mean, she didn't have any other friends herself, but literally she would joke around about strangling my other friends because she didn't like when I gave my attention to anyone else. But honestly, I just thought of it as a joke. And then I started dating this guy, let's just name him Jacob. He was probably the sweetest guy I had ever met, and he was a real simp for me. So we started dating and about 4 or 5 months go by, and he started getting these texts from a random number. And it would always be cringy things like leave her or you die, get away from her, and like stupid cringy threats. Then one night, me and him were just hanging out. Then he gets a text with his exact address saying he had till tonight to leave me or he wouldn't see another day. Then we hear a knock at the door. I'm running out of time, like for part 2. Part 2 of how my best friend got so weirdly obsessed with me that she plotted to kill my boyfriend. So continuing with the story, we heard a knock at the door and it ended up being her. And she said, oh, I'm just coming by to check on you, make sure you're okay. Mind you, we were at his house, and he looks at me like, what is she doing here? So I asked her to leave, and then she ends up getting so mad at me just because I asked her to give us alone time. So the night goes on, and then when I get home, she's in my room. At this time, my whole entire family was out of town, and I was the only one home. So I was like, hey. It was literally just like a normal night, and then I go to shower, and when I get back out of the shower, she's gone. And then my boyfriend calls me, and he goes, why is Maddie here? She had like this black mask on, but she's stupid enough to not realize that we know it's her. And I mean, we're being real here. She was my best friend at the time, so of course he's not going to call the police on her. But she had a knife in her hand, and he opens the door and he like pins her against the wall and then calls 911, I guess. And then to sum it up, when they get there, she tells them everything that she was going to do, and then they put her in a mental hospital. But she said that she was going to murder everybody that gets close to her.
My most popular question is, what's the hardest thing about having your small business? What is the hardest thing that you've endured? I started my business in February, and it has definitely been one of the hardest things. Making self-defense keychains is definitely a hard thing because lots of guys like to tell me that these keychains are pointless and who's ever going to buy something like this. But on the other hand, I've sold almost 6,000 keychains, and I've made girls feel safe, and girls tell me their stories of how safe they feel. But another hard thing is I've been shadow banned for the past 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks, and going from getting 1 million views to getting only 1,000 views, that is so hard, but it makes me so grateful for all the success I did have. So if you see this on your FYP, please interact.
Part 2 about how I ruined my ex-best friend's relationship and reputation in 2 days. So like I said, I texted the boys that they like, saying that they were talking to other people. And then of course my ex-best friends got mad, and then they started texting me about it, saying, oh, why are you lying, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, honestly, I just think it's really wrong for you to try and play these boys who actually have feelings for you. Yes, I know I was a little crazy, but who isn't? Anyway, so then I decided to get my mom involved, because I had been friends with these girls for a while, so my mom knew their parents very well.
Cleaning
so
the
brushes. I was
brushes.
really worried about them because they were starting to get into really bad stuff and hanging out with the wrong crowd, so I couldn't be friends with them. And they tried to talk me into doing stuff. So then my mom called their parents. Well, then their mom started to drop them off and pick them up every day because they were grounded. Well, then their mom started to apologize to my mom because their kids were such bad influences on me. And then when everybody asked why we stopped being friends,
Who wants
I
me
told
to
them
do
that they
the
made fun of my
bathtub?
grandma who isn't alive. And 4 years later, everybody still hates them.
Imagine TikTok being so powerful that they actually help you identify the person that almost murdered you. On my For You page the other day, I found this viral video that you guys might recognize, which states videos I took before almost being hunted and murdered. I clicked on her page, listened to her story, and was like, I have to know more. So I reached out and got the full thing. This is the case of Flowers Don't Growl. April 29th through April 30th of 2019, Taylor and her boyfriend Chris decided to take a trip to Falls Creek Falls, Tennessee. Taylor was 5 months pregnant at the time, so they figured they needed one last little trip before they were going to have a baby. And Taylor swore that Chris was going to propose. So that's why she documented so much of this trip, not even realizing that later on it was going to be used as evidence. So they set up at their assigned camping lot. They spent their time hiking, exploring, having fun. Taylor would collect flowers along the way to document it for memory's sake, but please keep these flowers in mind. And then on the second day, everyone from their assigned area was
just two cold shadows in our room. One like me and one like you. And I can't face it, and I can't change it, and I can't mend you. Nobody like you. Nobody like you to me. Nobody like you. Nobody like you to me. Nobody like you. Nobody like you. like me.